Myanmar finds itself at a tragic crossroads. On March 28, 2025, a devastating earthquake ripped through the heart of the nation, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. This natural disaster, the strongest to hit Myanmar in 75 years, struck a country already reeling from a brutal civil war. The earthquake, measuring a staggering 7.7 on the Richter scale, has claimed thousands of lives, injured countless more, and shattered infrastructure. Its epicenter, located near Mandalay, Myanmar's second-largest city, highlights the widespread impact of this catastrophe. This double tragedy, a potent cocktail of natural disaster and man-made conflict, has plunged Myanmar into a humanitarian crisis of immense proportions. The earthquake's devastation has only exacerbated the suffering inflicted by the ongoing civil war, which has gripped the nation since the military coup in February 2021. The convergence of these crises has created a perfect storm, overwhelming Myanmar's already fragile infrastructure, healthcare system, and social fabric. The earthquake's impact has been nothing short of catastrophic. Early estimates suggest a death toll exceeding 3,800, a number tragically expected to rise significantly as search and rescue efforts continue. The injured number in the thousands, placing an unbearable strain on Myanmar's already crippled healthcare system. The earthquake's destructive power is evident in the widespread damage to infrastructure. Hospitals, schools, and homes have been reduced to rubble, leaving thousands displaced and vulnerable. The earthquake's epicenter near Mandalay, a city of cultural and historical significance, underscores the widespread devastation. This city, once a bustling hub of activity, now stands as a stark reminder of the earthquake's raw power. The impact, however, extends far beyond Mandalay. 6 regions, encompassing approximately 28 million people, have been directly affected by this disaster. Among them are an estimated 6.7 million children, the most vulnerable victims of this tragedy. The earthquake did not strike a nation at peace. Myanmar has been embroiled in a brutal civil war since the military coup in February 2021. This conflict, which has already claimed the lives of over 50,000 people and displaced millions more, has left deep scars on the nation's psyche and severely weakened its ability to cope with disasters. The earthquake has only deepened these wounds, pushing an already fragile nation to the brink of collapse. The ongoing conflict has hampered access to vital resources and hindered the delivery of humanitarian aid to those who desperately need it. The earthquake has exacerbated these challenges, creating a logistical nightmare for aid organizations struggling to reach affected communities. The convergence of these crises has created a complex and volatile environment where the needs of the people are often overshadowed by the political machinations of those in power. The earthquake has dealt a devastating blow to Myanmar's healthcare system, which was already grappling with the consequences of the ongoing civil war. The destruction of hospitals and medical facilities has further crippled the country's ability to respond to the growing health needs of its people. The earthquake's aftermath has created a breeding ground for disease outbreaks, threatening to overwhelm the already strained healthcare system. Before the earthquake, access to healthcare was already a major challenge, with 40% of hospitals inaccessible due to their location in contested territories. The earthquake has only heightened these challenges, leaving millions without access to even the most basic healthcare services. The situation is particularly dire for those in remote areas, where access to healthcare was already limited before the disaster struck. The international community has responded to the earthquake with an outpouring of support, pledging aid and dispatching emergency response teams to assist in the relief efforts. However, navigating the complex and volatile landscape of a nation embroiled in civil war presents unprecedented challenges for aid organizations. Access to affected areas remains severely restricted, hampered by ongoing fighting, damaged infrastructure, and bureaucratic hurdles imposed by the military junta. The military junta's tight grip on information and movement has created an environment of mistrust and suspicion, making it difficult for aid organizations to operate effectively. The junta's control over aid distribution channels raises concerns about transparency and accountability, fueling fears that aid might not reach those who need it most. Despite these challenges, aid organizations remain committed to delivering vital assistance to the people of Myanmar. Section 6: Broken promises, ceasefires, and continued violence. In the wake of the earthquake, both the military junta and the opposition National Unity Government declared ceasefires, offering a glimmer of hope that humanitarian aid could reach those in need without hindrance. However, these ceasefires have proven fragile at best, with reports of continued fighting and military offensives casting a long shadow over the relief efforts. The military's continued airstrikes and ground offensives, even after the earthquake, raise serious questions about their commitment to the ceasefire and their willingness to prioritize the well-being of the civilian population. These actions not only hinder the delivery of humanitarian aid, but also displace communities and exacerbate the suffering of those already reeling from the earthquake's impact. Section 7. A Glimmer of Hope, International Assistance. The international community has stepped up to provide much-needed assistance in the wake of the earthquake. Organizations such as the Red Cross, the World Health Organization, and numerous NGOs are working tirelessly to provide medical supplies, clean water, sanitation facilities, and shelter to those displaced by the disaster. However, the scale of the disaster and the ongoing conflict have created an immense funding gap. The World Food Program, for instance, urgently requires $60 million to continue its food assistance program, which faces potential cuts in the coming weeks. The international community must recognize the urgency of the situation and provide sustained and flexible funding to support the long-term recovery and rebuilding efforts in Myanmar. Section 8. Looming Threats, the Monsoon and Beyond. As if the earthquake and civil war were not enough, Myanmar now faces another looming threat, the approaching monsoon season. The heavy rains and potential for flooding pose significant risks to those living in temporary shelters who are already vulnerable to disease outbreaks and lack access to proper sanitation facilities. The monsoon season threatens to further complicate aid delivery, making access to affected communities even more difficult. The international community must act swiftly to address the potential health and logistical challenges posed by the monsoon season to prevent further suffering and loss of life. Section 9. A Long Road to Recovery, What Lies Ahead. Myanmar faces a long and arduous road to recovery. Rebuilding the nation's shattered infrastructure, providing adequate health care, and addressing the root causes of the ongoing conflict will require a concerted and sustained effort from both the domestic and international communities. The first step towards a brighter future lies in ending the violence that has plagued the nation for far too long. The international community must maintain pressure on the military junta to end its attacks on civilians, allow unimpeded access for humanitarian aid, and engage in meaningful dialogue with the opposition to find a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Only then can Myanmar begin to heal its wounds, rebuild its shattered lives, and move towards a more stable and prosperous future.